What's going on, people of the world? I don't know. I was going to try to think of something witty to say there, and I just was like staring at you guys on the screen, Steve and Derek. What's going on, people of my friendship? I don't know.
Tom, I'd like to tell you what's going on in my life, but I'm afraid it would scare you. So
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Well, what's up?
So are you okay with me asking you a bold question?
Sure. Should I be
Yeah,
scared?
sure. You should be scared, but
Yeah.
let me ask you a question, Tom. Why did you ask me if you should be scared?
Well, because you said you had a really bold question, and then you said you said what was going on in your world, I'd be scared. So, I mean, Steve, is it okay if I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead,
You know,
Tom.
what do you think? What do you think Derek thinks of all this?
Oh, okay. Is it okay if I share my opinion?
Go ahead, Derek.
I don't know. As long as it agrees with mine, I suppose we're good. So,
We sound like Chip and Dale right now. No, you.
so
No,
guys,
you
what are we
first,
doing
after
here?
you.
What are we doing here? Because people are like, what the heck? What the heck's going on? What are we doing?
It's, me personally, I think there's some psychology when you ask someone for permission, you're allowing them to have control of the conversation, and you're also showing them respect, and you're also getting their full attention. So I think today, just on our podcast, why don't we share what it looks like when we're going through the Shinfu process and why it's important during transitions to ask for permission to go from the motive, to go to the money, or if there's something going on within the conversation, to pause for a second instead of just the classic waiting versus listening. Because most of the time when you're talking to a prospect, they're really just waiting to tell you something or one up you. So if you say, may I share with you what things like this have cost other contractors in the past? All of a sudden, they go, what?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna stop waiting. I'm gonna shift to listening. So why don't we go over some of the things that we do and why we ask for permission and what that's all about?
So let's
So I'd
actually
like-
break it down even more elementary, Derek, because what Derek's talking about, what Tom brought up, and this goofy little thing we started with, was that during our Shinfu pre-qualification process, one of the techniques that we use is to ask people permission to actually ask them questions. Now, that sounds silly, which is what we're going to explain to you right now, but there's a really deep psychological reason, just like Derek presented a second ago. And this is a technique. So think about it like this. Okay, when I want to ask someone a question, not all the time, but a fair amount of time, you want to actually ask for their permission to ask that question. And so let's just jump right in it and do a quick little role play, and just so they can hear how these words and word tracks roll off our tongues. Cool?
Sounds good.
So I'm going to set it up, and Derek and Tom, I love this because they don't know what the hell I'm doing. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to make Tom a customer, and Tom bought a brand new house, and he wants to redo his family room. Okay? And Derek has some pictures, and Derek's talking to Tom as the contractor, and just go through step number one, the motive, working on that, and I'm going to have them just kind of role play, and you'll see how Derek vanguards every question with permission to ask a question, or most of them. Y'all ready?
We're ready.
So the phone ring, and Tom, the customer, says hello. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Tom, this is Derek with JBI Master Bedroom Remodelers. How you doing?
Wow, that was quick, man. I just shot those pictures over and hasn't even been, I don't think, 5 minutes. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for sharing those pictures. Is this a bad time to talk?
This is a great time to talk.
Thank you for sharing that. So as we get started in this, is it okay if I share with you kind of what this process is going to look like while we're on the phone, and really the goal of this why I had you send me pictures?
Yeah, that'd be great because I've never heard of anyone doing that before. So it's pretty cool, man. What's up? How's it work?
No, thank you for allowing that. My goal here is to get enough information from you by looking at these pictures and asking you a few questions to give you a price of what things have cost, other projects that we've done for a similar, household like this. So I just want to make sure it's okay that I ask, and sometimes it might be a little frustrating that I'm asking so many questions, but I just want to make sure I can ask you these questions just to give you a price at the end of this call.
Absolutely. That'll work.
So tell me what I need to know about this area that you want to have redone.
Well, you're looking at the picture here, and it's this family room's like from the Brady Bunch house, and it is absolutely just an eyesore. So we got to get rid of that orange carpet. This is the crappiest house on the block that we bought, and I'm just trying to update it. I'd like some built-ins on either side of the fireplace in that one side of the room there, and then I don't know what we're going to do for flooring yet, but I got to get rid of that like I said, that orange carpet, and then paint the walls.
Gotcha. So I apologize if I'm pausing here because I'm just taking some notes because I want to make sure I get all this stuff right.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like just what you're sharing with me so far is it's orange carpet's got to go. You want some built-ins, and you're going really fast. And I know the information you're giving me is really important. What was that last part that you said?
We'll have to update the paint color. That's all. Yeah. And I forgot that we have that popcorn ceiling too. That needs to be removed and got made better looking or whatever, because that's like outdated as well.
Remove the popcorn ceiling,
remove the popcorn ceiling and just have flat ceilings. Yep.
How long have you been thinking about doing this?
Since the day I walked into the house and saw it when I was buying it, or looking at homes, I knew I liked the house, I liked the location. The second I walked in, I knew we had to do this. So it's probably been like 2 months that I've been, we just closed on it last week.
Gotcha. So 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 2 months. Is there anybody else in the house that has an opinion on this?
Just me.
Just you.
Yeah, I'm single, live alone. I have a dog, but I don't think he has much of an opinion. As long as I feed him, I think we're good.
I mean, I heard that the dogs are colorblind, so he can't even see the color of the carpet.
Yeah, good point. So
single. Okay. So it's carpet. It's the built. Tell me a little bit more about the built-ins. Kind of paint a picture for me so I can understand. Because there again, I want to kind of get a solid idea so I can give you a price at the end of our call here. What do those built-ins look like?
Floor to ceiling, and I think that's a 9-foot ceiling in the room there. So floor to ceiling on each side of the fireplace, and I'd like the tops to be open, and then down below have a couple cabinet doors down there. I don't need any drawers or anything, just some doors to store some stuff in there, and some shelves up above on each side.
You did say floor to ceiling, correct?
Yeah. Like to go the whole length or height.
Well, if it's okay, Tom, I feel like I have enough information. Is it okay if I just kind of go back through kind of the punch list, if you will, that you gave me?
Sure.
Okay, so and please add in some stuff as we go through it. If I miss something, feel free to throw something in. So we want to get rid of the orange carpet, the built-ins, floor to ceiling, open tops, no drawers, but maybe some cabinet doors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Open and close. We want to address the paint color, get rid of that popcorn ceiling, and I think that did I get all of that?
Yeah, I think. Oh, one thing I didn't tell you was I want the built-ins to be a stained finish. I don't want them painted. I want them like stained. I don't know to matte. I don't know what color yet, but we'll figure that out.
Okay. Well, I mean. Am I missing anything? Do you feel like you've given me enough information where I can give you a ballpark figure for what something like this might cost?
Yeah, how close can you get?
I don't know. We'll see. As soon as I share this number, so I got all this information. Are you comfortable? Is it okay if we talk about money?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
If I were to come out there and do everything that you asked for, top of the line, we're looking at right at 30 grand.
Out of role play.
Okay.
All right. Now, the purpose of today's podcast is asking for permission. So, Tom, and I know they can see this, but I kept chart. how many questions did Derek ask, and how many permission to ask questions did Derek ask? And the
Yeah.
answer is Derek actually asked in that whole process, and this is our motive process. This is step one. And I wanted to stop you before you got to the money,
Mm-hmm.
because the money's the money. That's step two. But in the discovery process, which is where you try to learn everything you can and let the homeowner speak, Derek asked 7 questions, but he asked permission 5 times to ask a question. And the whole flow of the conversation, Tom felt like, well, I'll let Tom speak. Did you feel like Derek was a used car salesman bowling you over, or that you were in total control of the process and that Derek was letting you go wherever you wanted to go?
Yeah, I felt like it was just supernatural, and he was gently telling me where we were going to go. Like I'm on the other end of it too here, right? I know a little more than the average person who's going through this process as a client. So, but from the client perspective, he was just guiding me in a real gentle way instead of just going, "Hey, let's talk about money," or "Hey, whatever." So I just thought it was a gentle, he was pulling me along.
And Derek, from your standpoint, did you, I mean, I'm counting, but you
Yeah.
asked for permission to ask a question 5 times, and you actually asked 7 questions.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't keeping tabs, but I feel that's how we transition, and that's how I keep him focused
Mhm.
on what we're talking about. It's
So
easy for me.
here's something really foretelling, that in our motive, we talk about motive a lot, and in the Shin Fu, one of the most important places is to get it right, which is all you're trying to do is try to find out what the customer really wants and truly listen to them. Just don't throw up all over them. And so in the motive section, before Derek jumped into the money, he actually asked a question, whether it was for permission or a question. He asked for guidance from the prospect 12 times. So think about that, Derek. You actually asked for guidance 12 times. And I'm just asking anybody listening to our voices right now, how many times do you call up a prospect and you actually ask them something 12 times before you get to money? Or are you just calling them up and asking 2 questions and then just telling them how great you are, and how you're rated number 1, and how you'll blow them away, and how you got the best, widget going? Think about that. Derek, you didn't offer any advice on how great you were, or how good looking you were, or how top rated you are. Nothing. All you did was ask questions. And Tom got to talk. It was amazing.
That is the truly the secret sauce. Just I can't express enough, and I know we talk about this a lot, that in today, well, even more now. So we're stuck at home with our families, right? And we're reaching out to our friends, and I know a lot of people out there are doing Zoom calls, and they're meeting with their buddies and their families and stuff on Zoom. And I can't help but think that it's everybody just talking, and rarely is anybody listening, because we do just want to talk about ourselves, because that's the most important subject. We're the most important person, and we just want to share what we got going on. And it's so hard to step back and let the other person go. So if you switch that and go, man, I know that other person wants to talk about themselves. And if you can allow it, and you're trying to actually prosper off of this and get enough information to help them, it's a win-win, right? It's reciprocity. I mean, you're going to allow them to speak, and they're going to give you every bit of intel for you to price the job, for you to make money for your family, and then to turn the reciprocity back around and go and build something for them so that they can enjoy what they paid you money for. I mean, it's this circle, but unfortunately, what has happened in society over years and thousands of years is everybody just wants to be important, and nobody's allowing the other person to be important.
When you're asking permission, you know, hey, is it okay if we talk about money? Or hey, Tom, are you cool if we take a minute here and recap what you just told me? You're creating a teamwork, a collaborative approach to this whole thing with the prospect. You know, instead of you lecturing and just going, this is what's going on, this is what's going on, which a lot of salespeople do. You're bringing them in and making this a we. That's even like one of our best questions is, you know, what should we do next question that we've always asked, you know, in the sales process. It's worded at what should we do next, or what do you think our next move is here. It's very similar in the sense that we're creating a teamwork with the prospect of, hey, you got this issue, you have this problem, let's solve it together. I also like, I know a lot of contractors through the years, maybe not so much now with the virus and stuff, and you have to sell on the phone and online. But we got a lot of pushback from guys for a lot of years about this process, and it was always the contractors, right? And every now and then a customer would be like, you know, wow, this is a weird process. And where I've used it and seen it used is in the very setup call. You know, like when you're building rapport with somebody, and you know, I might have found Steve's business online, and Steve might say, hey, Tom, before we get into this, I just wanted to thank you for giving us a call. And just out of curiosity, where did you find us? Oh, well, you had, you know, you did work for my cousin or my neighbor or whatever it was. Maybe it's a referral. Maybe I saw a lot of good reviews. That's also a spot where I use the permission thing, where I go, well, Steve, you know, the reason Derek hired us and said all those good things about us is we kind of have a certain way of doing things and the certain process that we follow. Would it be okay if I shared with you that process that we used with Derek and how it applies here? So it's that third party social proof that what I'm about to share with you is like normal here. And it's even more acceptable because you gave me all the reasons why you called me, was whether it be the reviews or whatever. Does that make sense? Like, that's where I see permission as well being used, is to set up the process.
So, Tom, you said something that really got my brain working. We've been doing this 6 years, you know, with the CSA, and I've been doing it 8 years myself. And when we talk about what you just heard, this way of talking over the phone that Derek was doing with Tom, the customers and the prospects love it.
Yeah.
The only people that have a problem with this are the freaking contractors,
right,
who are trying to help. They're like, you can't have that type of conversation. And I'm like, and it's so funny. And it just goes to prove exactly Tom's point, that it's the knuckleheaded contractor out there that refuses to change. They're the ones stuck in the 1980s. The customer loves this, and it's freedom for the customer, true freedom, instead of getting beat over the head by that used car salesman.
Totally. Yeah. And let's face it, the contractor, we always, I don't care what you do, you always gravitate towards your comfort zone. And so contractors generally have never put much time in learning how to truly sell or market and all those other things. So anytime there's a little discomfort in that area, they gravitate towards, I got to go out and feel the wood on the countertop, or, you know, the walls and all this other shit. I got to put my hands on it, because then I can share all my expertise about, well, the wood grain is this, and that's why this is happening. So they feel good about themselves. You know, so that's why I think contractors fight it, is they're afraid to get uncomfortable. You know, I guess they like running around with a bunch of windshield time and being ghosted by unicorns, you know, and all that other crap. You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. But for those that embrace the discomfort, they're kicking ass.
So here's the big rub. Derek, were you like the way you talked to Tom was very polished. And I know you from years and years ago when you weren't that polished. Literally, how many hours have you put in your life of practicing just so you can talk like that to people? What kind of work does that look like? And where do they go to find such a community to help them learn a craft like that?
I have no idea how many hours. I mean, it's well over 10,000. I mean, that's a given, because it's so natural. But what I do also, literally, when I get in my Jeep if I'm not set up to call a prospect and shinfu them, if I don't have any leads or whatever, or I've went through my list and I called them back, I literally connect with other people in the group, and I'll just call up somebody in our group and we'll just go right into a role play. It's kind of funny. When I call most people in our group, they answer their phone as the contractor. They usually don't even say, "Hey, Derek," because it's so conditioned. So when I'm riding down the road, I'm not always listening. Now, of course, I'll listen to the radio and I'll listen to some podcasts. So it's every single day. But I'm doing it within our group with our people and literally practicing these stuff and going over so that I can polish. And I love this stuff because what it's doing is it's actually teaching me how to communicate with everybody that I come in contact with. This is not just a sales hard close kind of thing. It's just really kind of going, damn, that person's talking. So I've kind of trained myself to listen. So let me give them a few minutes and listen to them and actually make their day better. So I do it every day, like every single day.
When I'm blown up, go ahead, Steve. You're going to say something.
I was just going to say, there is an actual school. There's an academy that you can go to learn to talk like Derek. I mean, let's be blunt. This is what we're on here for. There is an academy, an actual school, the only one of its kind that I know of that will teach people how to learn that craft of communication with your fellow human beings and get them to actually want what you have to offer. There's a school.
What's the school, Steve? What is the school? Hey,
The
Steve, would it be okay if you shared with us what the name of that school was?
I was just about to do that.
Take us out of this podcast because you're sort of the MC of the whole show
Yeah.
here. So,
all right, hey, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us today on Contractor Sales Academy podcast. If you are looking to up your sales game, head to contractorsalesacademy.com. If you want to book a demo, go ahead and hit that same domain with /demo, and we'll get you hooked up. And also, in case you don't know, we offer half-day workshops where you get Steve, Derek, and I, if you want us to bring the heat and the fire to help you better your sales team. We would love to talk to you about that. And just go ahead and fill out the contact form on the website for that, and we'll get you taken care of. Have a great day.